Damn, I really outdid myself on that one. Wow. This is the HTC One M7. This was my second smartphone. And without a doubt, one of the best designed smartphones of all time. All aluminum back, chamfered edges. This at the time was the prettiest phone you can get. Going from a plastic Galaxy S3 to this was a game changer. And with Beats Audio on board with dual speakers, I was blown away at the time in the sound department. This phone, like the S3 I had, holds a special place in my heart. I got this phone before I moved to Mexico, where I would be for the next 10 years. And I have a few cool stories to share today. So this restoration, it's not much of a restoration. This phone mainly just has some normal usage over the years, but the charge port is out on it, well, going out on it. Battery barely holds a charge at all. I plan to use it like 15 minutes or so. It's got some scratches and some dings, and all that I'll be taking care of today with some new parts. And hopefully I'll get this thing going, looking like brand new again, just like it was, 12 years ago. And like always, if you have any device that's meaningful and special to you in any way, please share that down below. I especially enjoy reading through the comments and stories that have been shared. I'm also up for suggestions on the next restoration video. This is the last one that I have planned. I have parts for. I need to start researching some new devices, so I'm up to anyone suggesting down below what I should do next. Anyways, the scripted part of this video is over, so now you get to hear me freestyle the rest of this, if I can. So before I get on to disassembling the device, these are the parts that I did acquire. Basically, it's pretty simple. It's a new housing, it's a new screen, battery, and charge port. Now, I have a little story about this. This is not the housing and screen I originally ordered. I've been waiting like a month to do this video. I originally got the parts on eBay, and I got them they were supposed to come from Germany. And while they said that they shipped them, I never got them. They said it'd be there in like 2 weeks. It was like 5 weeks when I contacted them. I was like, hey, you know what? No, they're not here. I need them. So I filed a claim on eBay, got my money back, and went ahead and reordered the housings from here in the United States. They arrived in like 4 days ago. So they got here pretty quick. But yeah, the charge port on this device is basically failing. It's almost dead. Battery is super, super bad. Like it drains really quick. Screen is actually still fine, and the housing is technically still okay. They have a little bit of wear and tear, but not too bad. The screen does have a pretty good scratch in it. But I'll hopefully, well, you'll see here. I'm gonna get this thing looking like brand new again. So my history with the HTC One M7 starts around mid-April of 2013, pretty much exactly 12 years ago. That sounds like a long time because it was a long time ago. And 2013 for me was quite an interesting year. That was the year my grandma passed away, and it was also the year that I moved to Mexico. So when I got this phone was around the time my grandma was passing away. I wasn't there when she did, but she was on hospice. But I was out house sitting for about, I think it was around 10 days or so, with me and my dog Bobo, who was a Doberman. And during that time, I remember using the phone constantly, listening to music. I had my headphones on, like connected to it. It's back when headphones are pretty much all wired headphones, and it does have a wired headphone jack on the phone with actually a pretty good sounding amplifier. But I pretty much spent that week listening to music, staying up, playing with the dog, taking lots of pictures, lots of videos, trying out all kinds of stuff. I remember even slow motion as well. That was pretty cool feature to have. The only downside to this HTC One M7 is the 4 megapixel camera. So phones at the time generally had around 8 megapixels. HTC they were trying to do something new. They want to do 4 megapixels but have a bigger sensor resolution to get more low light. And in theory, it makes sense, but the resolution of the pictures was just horrible. Like, picture quality is super bad. But in a way, the HTC One M7 did get me through that hardship a little bit. Just listen to music. I know after she died, before we moved to Mexico, I got some Beats Pro headphones, like the big ones, and I listened to music all the time on those, and I just loved it. I still have those headphones actually. They're a little bit beat up, but they're 12 years old. They still work fine. They still sound really good. And this phone also has another special connection to me in a way that this was the phone that I had when I passed my driver's license test. Like the written and the driving test with an instructor. This was the phone I had. I even have a picture of it on my Instagram of my stickers on the back of the phone with, you know, the awesome and A+ job and stuff like that on my test. Now, this isn't the HTC One M7 that I had. I know people probably think I'm restoring old phones that I have, but I'm not. This was a Verizon model. I had an AT&T model, but that's beside the point. Pretty much all these old phones I've had, they were either sold or traded back into the carrier, and I do no longer have them. And another kind of fun fact is I actually have another YouTube channel that I started when I was, 12 years ago, 13 years ago. And I didn't do anything with it, but my number one video and the most viewed video I've ever done was cleaning the HTC One M7 speakers and making them sound better, because the little holes would fill up with dirt and your speakers would sound really bad after a while. So I filmed a YouTube video cleaning them out, and that I think to date's like 260,000 views, something like that. That's my top video. But yeah, that is a lesser known thing that I do have another YouTube channel. I haven't really done anything to it now. I haven't done anything to it in years. I was posting kind of like my parents' house being built in Mexico, but I didn't really do much to that channel. I just kind of left it. And when I started this channel again, I didn't want to redo it over on top of everything else there. I wanted to start new, so maybe I'll link that original HTC video in this video as well. It's kind of cringe, so just be warned. And before I continue on to the next story, I did want to just mention right quick, I forgot to mention it, but this phone was rated as one of the hardest phones to repair, and it is probably one of the hardest phones of all time to repair. It is insane. All the little ribbon connectors, all the little cables and stuff, it's just, why? Also, the phone, just to open it, you have to pretty much destroy the phone to get into it. Now, apparently the rumor is HTC had a special tool that they said that they could use to open these phones perfectly. No one's seen the tool. I don't think anyone's seen the tool. It probably didn't exist. Honestly, if I was HTC and I was doing a screen replacement, I'd probably just do a new housing as well. I mean, it just sounds like the most logical thing. Anyway, here is the big story of this video. I moved to Mexico. A little bit of background before I moved to Mexico in the end of 2013 was my stepdad worked on the railroad. We traveled around all over the United States, and he worked on the railroad doing railroad ties, taking out the wooden ties, putting in concrete ties. And that's what we did for a few years. And I've seen like 3/4 of the United States. I've been everywhere. But he retired, and we moved to Mexico. And he's from Mexico, and that's where my parents built their house. So moving down there was quite the experience. Like literally, we went from a fifth wheel to rental house and to the house that they were building. And I had this phone, of course, with me the entire time. And I actually have pictures still of the first bricks being laid on their house. So this phone, like I said, that was a pretty important time in my life. Big culture shock, really different. Benefits are that I met my wife in Mexico, and also I am fluent in Spanish, written and speaking it. Also, it's probably what messed me up a little bit, speaking sometimes, but normally that's just because I get nervous doing these videos and stuff. But that was definitely a game changer in my life. And I continued using this HTC through, I think it was probably almost a year or so. Actually, I'm just checking right here in the dates real quick. Yeah, I used it for a little over 1 year as I was living in Mexico, getting acclimated. My parents were building their house. And like I said, I have pictures from basically their house just being built all the way up until it's got a roof, and it was almost completely ready. So I used that phone up until I got, actually, I think I was going to say it was a Samsung Galaxy Alpha. You should probably Google that phone. That was a really interesting Samsung phone that I really like that phone. I kind of miss it. I used that Galaxy Alpha along with an LG G2, I believe. Hopefully I can get my hands on some of those devices for some future videos, but like I said, this is when I started to change devices a lot, so it's gonna be kind of hard to keep up. And this just goes to show as well that, you know, a lot of these old phones and stuff, a lot of people have a lot of certain connections to them. I don't know if anybody else out there is like me, but I associate certain things with almost like a feeling or a sensation. Like, I don't know, HTC One M7, I moved to Mexico, whatnot, but maybe that I associate me with like a cooler feeling, or might be a warm feeling, or a certain smell or something. I don't know if anybody can kind of, like, I don't know, it's hard to explain. Like, your memories are connected to almost feelings as well. And I get that a lot with these old devices. Like, it's a certain feeling that, you know, I mentioned, you know, my old headphones, there's a certain feeling of me using those headphones, but I really can't explain that feeling very well. But I know for a lot of people that these devices definitely do have some emotional feeling with, and it's nice to get, you know, share your experiences, how they make you feel, and they're very important. I think a lot of people take for granted how important some of these things are in life. Anyway, story time is over. You can just see that I just finished up the repair on this phone. I'm just taking off these plastics. Man, it was a pain. This phone is probably, even for me that I've been doing this for so long, doing phone repairs, it was a pain. But now you get to enjoy a little bit of ASMR, me no talking, just pure noises straight from the phone. Restoring the HTC One M7 felt like catching up with an old friend, one that helped shape my love for tech. It wasn't just the aluminum body or the front-facing speakers. It was the memories tied to it. Late night messages, the music, pictures, moving to Mexico, and the feeling of holding something that just felt right. Technology moves fast, but devices like this remind us of the times that really mattered. They may be outdated by today's standards, but they still carry weight because they carry our stories. Thanks for joining me on this journey. If the HTC One M7 was part of your story too, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and see you in the next video. Another video done. So, just got done with this one. Now, the live stream. I mentioned this in my last video, but I didn't expect this one to be done so quick. So, this, I plan on doing, so this video is going to be uploaded here in just a little bit. So, it's 4/4/25. I am expecting I'm probably going to do it Sunday. Yeah, let's say Sunday around, I don't know, 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I'll do the live stream on this Note 2. Thanks for watching. Also, look at my dope setup. This is what I've been rocking.